My best friend Tyria picked up a hitchhiker on Highway 75 in November 1989. When she came home that night, there was blood on her jacket sleeve. She kissed me on the forehead and whispered, "Lee took care of it. We're safe now." I didn't understand what she meant until 6 months later, when they found the 7th body. Hey, my name is Rachel Moore. I'm from Daytona Beach, Florida, and I never imagined I'd become friends with someone capable of what she did. Back in 1986, I was 24 years old, working as a bartender at a dive bar called The Last Resort near the beach. It wasn't much, but it paid my rent and kept me fed. I was lonely, honestly. Broke up with my boyfriend that year, didn't have family nearby, just trying to survive in a tourist town that chewed people up and spit them out. That's when I met her, Aileen Wuornos, but everyone called her Lee. She was a regular at the bar, always sitting in the corner, drinking cheap beer, talking to anyone who'd listen. We became friends, close friends, and for a while, she was the only person in my life who seemed to understand what it meant to be invisible. But I didn't know who she really was, what she was doing on those highways late at night. Not until it was too late. Meeting Lee. I first noticed Lee in the summer of 1986. She'd come into the bar around 9 p.m. most nights, order a Budweiser, and sit alone. She was hard to miss. Tall, heavy-set, rough around the edges. Her hair was bleached blonde, but always looked greasy. Her clothes were worn out. She smelled like cigarettes and sweat. But she had this energy, this intensity. Like she was always angry about something, but also desperately lonely. One night, a drunk guy at the bar started harassing her. Called her ugly. Told her to leave because she was scaring away the pretty girls. Before I could kick him out, Lee stood up, grabbed him by the collar, and shoved him against the wall. "Say that again," she hissed. "I dare you." The guy shut up real quick. Stumbled out of the bar. Never came back. After that, I bought Lee a drink. "Thanks for handling that." She shrugged. Men like that need to be put in their place. They think they can say whatever they want to women like us. Women like us? Yeah, the ones nobody wants. The ones nobody sees. I didn't know what to say to that. But something about the way she said it made me feel understood. We started talking more after that. Lee would tell me about her life. How she grew up in Michigan, had a terrible childhood, was abandoned by her parents. How she'd been on her own since she was 15. How she'd done whatever she had to do to survive. "I've been a prostitute, a thief, a drifter," she said one night. "But I'm not ashamed. Society doesn't give people like me any options. So I make my own." I admired that about her. Her refusal to apologize for existing. Tyria. In early 1987, Lee started bringing a woman to the bar. Tyria Moore. Ty, she called her. They were together. A couple. Ty was younger than Lee. Mid-20s. Soft-spoken. Seemed sweet, but also nervous. Like she was always looking over her shoulder. Lee was obsessed with her. You could see it in the way she looked at Ty. Like Ty was the only good thing in her life. Ty's the only person who's ever loved me. Lee told me one night when Ty was in the bathroom. I'd do anything for her. Kill for her if I had to. I laughed. Thought she was being dramatic. She wasn't. The first strange thing. In late 1989, I started noticing changes in Lee. She had money suddenly. Not a lot, but more than usual. She'd buy rounds of drinks. Pay for Ty's meals. Show up wearing a man's watch or carrying a wallet that didn't look like hers. Where are you getting money? I asked her once. Working, she said vaguely. Working how? The usual. On the highway. I assumed she meant prostitution. That was her main source of income. Men would pick her up hitchhiking on I-75 or Route 1, take her to secluded areas, pay her, and drop her off. But something felt different now. She seemed wired, paranoid. She'd snap at people for no reason, drink more than usual, and sometimes late at night, she'd stare out the window with this 1,000-yard stare. "You okay, Lee?" I asked one night. "I'm fine," she said, but her hands were shaking. The blood. One night in December 1989, Ty came into the bar alone. She looked pale, shaken. "Where's Lee?" I asked. "She's dealing with something. She'll be here later." Ty sat at the bar and ordered a whiskey. Downed it in one gulp. Ordered another. "Ty, what's wrong?" She looked at me with these wide, scared eyes. "Rachel, if something bad happened, if someone did something they had to do to survive, that's not really their fault, right?" "What are you talking about?" "Nothing. Forget it." But I couldn't forget it. Because when Lee showed up an hour later, she had a cut on her hand. Fresh. Deep. And there were stains on her jeans that looked like rust. Like dried blood. "What happened to your hand?" I asked. "Cut it on a fence." No big deal. But it was a big deal. Because over the next few weeks, I noticed more. Bruises on her arms. Scratches on her neck. And once, I saw her stuffing something into a dumpster behind the bar. When I checked later, it was a torn shirt, covered in what looked like blood. I told myself it was nothing. That Lee was just living a rough life. Getting into fights. Dealing with dangerous clients. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. The news reports. In January 1990, the news started reporting on a series of murders along Florida highways. 7 men, all found shot to death, their cars abandoned, their wallets missing. The police called it a robbery spree. Said the killer was likely male, probably targeting vulnerable drivers. But I noticed something. The victims were all middle-aged white men, all found on routes I newly frequented. I tried to push the thought away. It was absurd. Lee couldn't be a killer. She was my friend. She was rough, sure, but not violent. Not like that. But then I remembered things she'd said. Offhand comments that suddenly seemed darker. Men think they can hurt women without consequences. But they're wrong. I've been raped so many times I lost count. Someone needs to make them pay. If I ever got the chance to fight back, I'd take it. I told myself I was being paranoid. Reading too much into things. The confrontation. In February 1990, I finally confronted Lee. We were sitting in my apartment, drinking beer, watching her. Wanted to believe she was a victim defending herself. But 7 men were dead. 7. Tyria's fear. A few days later, Ty came to see me. She was crying. "Rachel, I need to tell you something." But you can't tell anyone. Please. Okay. What is it? Lee's been killing them. Those men on the highways. She's been robbing and killing them. My stomach dropped. Are you sure? Yes. She told me. Showed me their IDs. Their money. She said they were all trying to hurt her, that she had no choice. But Rachel, I don't think that's true. I think she's lying. I think she's just killing them. Oh my God. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. If I go to the police, she'll hate me. She'll think I betrayed her. But if I don't, more people will die. I didn't know what to tell her, because part of me still wanted to believe Lee. Wanted to believe there was a good reason for what she was doing. But there wasn't. There never is. The items. In March 1990, I started noticing more stolen items. A camera in Lee's bag. A set of car keys that didn't belong to her. A man's jacket that was too big for her. And then one day, she showed me something that made my blood run cold. We were at the bar. Lee was drunk. She pulled out a driver's license from her pocket and showed it to me. Look at this asshole, she said, laughing. Thought he could mess with me. I showed him. It was one of the victims, Richard Mallory, the first man killed in December 1989. Lee, where did you get that? She realized what she'd done. Snatched the license back. Forget you saw that. Lee, that man is dead. The police are looking for his killer. He deserved it. He tried to rape me. Did he? Or did you just kill him for his money? She grabbed my wrist. Hard. Her eyes were wild. Don't you dare judge me, Rachel. You don't know what it's like out there. You don't know what men do to women like me. I pulled away. You need to turn yourself in. Never. I'd rather die than go to prison. She left. And I knew I'd lost my friend. Not to death, but to something worse. To the monster she'd become. The police. In July 1990, the police released a composite sketch based on witness descriptions. A woman, blonde, heavy-set, seen with some of the victims before they disappeared. It looked exactly like Lee. I called Ty. Have you seen the sketch? Yes. What are we going to do? Long silence. Then, I'm going to the police. I can't live with this anymore. Ty, if you do that, Lee will. I know, but I can't let her keep killing. And honestly, Rachel, I'm scared she'll kill me too. She's paranoid now. Thinks everyone's out to get her. I need to save myself. Ty turned herself in on January 9th, 1991. Told the police everything. Agreed to wear a wire and call Lee to get a confession. The calls were heartbreaking. I listened to the recordings later, during the trial. Lee, desperate and scared, begging Ty to stay with her. Ty, pretending to still love her, coaxing out details. Did you really have to kill them, Lee? I told you. They were going to hurt me. I had no choice. All 7 of them were going to hurt you? Pause. Then, yes. All of them. But you could hear the lie in her voice. The exhaustion. The resignation. The arrest. They arrested Lee on January 9th, 1991, at the Last Resort Bar. The same bar where I met her 5 years earlier. I was working that night. Saw the whole thing. She came in around 9 p.m., looking rough. Hadn't slept. Hadn't showered. She ordered a beer and sat in her usual corner. Then the cops walked in. 6 of them. Surrounded her. Aileen Wuornos, you're under arrest for the murder of Richard Mallory. She didn't resist. Just looked at me across the bar with these sad, tired eyes. I'm sorry, Rachel, she said. I never wanted you to see me like this. They took her away in handcuffs, and I never spoke to her again. The trial was a media circus. Everyone wanted to see America's first female serial killer. Cameras everywhere. Reporters calling her a monster. A devil. The damsel of death. But when I saw her in court, all I saw was a broken woman. Someone who'd been abused her entire life. Who'd never had a chance. Her lawyer tried to argue self-defense, that all 7 men had tried to rape or harm her. But the prosecution had evidence. Witness testimony, stolen items, Tyria's testimony. Ty took the stand and testified against Lee. Said Lee had confessed to killing the men for money. Not self-defense, just robbery. Lee stared at Ty the whole time. Not with anger, with betrayal, with heartbreak. When it was Lee's turn to testify, she was defiant. Angry, she cursed at the judge. Claimed she was being persecuted for defending herself. "I killed those men because they were going to kill me," she said. "I'm not a monster. I'm a survivor." But the jury didn't believe her. Found her guilty on all counts. Sentenced to death. The last conversation. Before the execution, Lee gave one final interview. I watched it on TV. She looked different. Thinner. Older. Defeated. "Do you regret what you did?" the interviewer asked. Lee paused. Looked directly at the camera. "I regret getting caught. But I don't regret fighting back. Men have been hurting me since I was a child. And society did nothing. So I took justice into my own hands." "But you killed innocent men. Were they innocent? Or were they just men who got unlucky picking up the wrong woman?" I still don't know the answer to that question. The confession letter. 2 weeks before Lee's execution in 2002, I received a letter. Handwritten. From her. I hadn't heard from her in over a decade. Didn't expect to ever hear from her again. But there it was. My name on the envelope. Her handwriting. Shaky. Uneven. I opened it with trembling hands. It read, "Dear Rachel, I don't have much time left. They're going to kill me on October 9th. And honestly, I'm ready. I'm tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of being hated. Tired of living in this cage. But before I go, I need to tell you the truth. The truth I couldn't say in court. The truth Ty didn't know. The truth I've been carrying alone for 12 years. The first man, Richard Mallory, he did try to rape me. I fought back and killed him. And after I felt powerful. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the victim. I was the one in control. So I kept doing it. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Because it felt good to make them afraid. To make them beg. To take everything from them like the world had taken everything from me. I'm not a hero. I'm not a victim. I'm a killer. And I'm sorry you got caught up in my mess. You were the only real friend I ever had, Rachel. And I ruined that too. Just like I ruined everything else in my life. I hope you can forgive me. Not for what I did to those men, but for lying to you. For making you believe I was something I wasn't. Goodbye, Rachel. Lee. I sat there holding that letter, crying. Because I'd lost my friend twice. Once when she was arrested. And again when I realized I never really knew her at all. Aileen Wuornos was executed by lethal injection on October 9th, 2002, at Florida State Prison. She was 46 years old. Her last words were, "I'd just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock, and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus, June 6th. Like the movie, big mothership and all. I'll be back." Nobody knew what she meant. Maybe she didn't either. Maybe she'd finally lost her mind. Or maybe she'd always been lost. I think about Lee sometimes. About the woman I knew. The friend I had. And I wonder, was she born a killer? Or did the world make her one? She was abused as a child. Raped repeatedly. Abandoned. Homeless at 15. Forced into prostitution to survive. Never had a chance at a normal life. But does that excuse what she did? Does trauma justify murder? I don't know. I wish I did. What I do know is that Lee Wuornos killed 7 men. And whether they deserved it or not, 7 families lost someone. 7 lives ended. And Lee's life ended too, long before that execution. Probably when she was just a little girl and nobody came to save her. Tyria Moore disappeared after the trial. Changed her name. Lives somewhere quiet. She got immunity for her testimony. She's free. I still work at the last resort. Still serve drinks to lonely people who sit in corners. And sometimes late at night, I look at that corner where Lee used to sit, and I swear I can still see her there. Blonde hair, tired eyes, waiting for someone to love her, waiting for a life that never came. Last week, a woman came into the bar, rough-looking, angry, sitting alone in the corner. And for just a second, I wondered, is she the next one? Is she carrying that same rage? That same pain? Or is she just another invisible woman, trying to survive in a world that doesn't see her? I don't know, but I keep watching, because if Lee taught me anything, it's that monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like friends.